Infestors. So the next map is actually going to be Terminus SE, second edition. So that is going to be a lot better map, a lot of flanking maneuvers, a lot of areas for DIMAGA to come in and get good surrounds.
Yep, and a ridiculously easy third for both players.
Yes.
And that actually kind of scares me, having seen Select Macro in that game. The amount of SCVs he had up, the consistently high income. He was ahead of DIMAGA the vast majority of that game. That first initial harassment, I think, put him ahead work account for the entire game. DIMAGA was not able to catch up, and once you get a Terran on the gold, saturated like that.
That's the problem with 2-base Spy. You literally have links. You're trying to save your gas from Mulish. You don't want to get Bailing Nest because you don't want to invest in it. And Select capitalizing with Marines and Hellions, put him in a great advantage position for the rest of the game, which he never let go of.
No, he didn't. He just held on to it the entire time, and DIMAGA was aggressively crushed there by Select going through that game. But we're now going into the second matchup, which will be on Terminus SE. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, to the north position. It's my pleasure to bring you mTW Mind Factory's DIMAGA. He is in the red trunks playing Zerg versus his opponent over to the west. It is Select from Team Dignitas. He is in the blue trunks playing Terran to the west.
This is so important for DIMAGA to win because the third map of this series is going to be on Shakuris Plateau, which heavily favors Terran right now, especially because you can get to 4 bases, but after that you are technically screwed because you cannot take a 5th base whatsoever against a good Terran player. So this has to be DIMAGA's map.
Yep, and it was, of course, his choice, and I think that he's going to like it, honestly. I don't see why not. It's a good map for Zerg, very macro-orientated, and plays into a lot of DIMAGA's strengths. The thing is that you think about the strengths of DIMAGA, and then you think about, well, where is Select perhaps weaker? And I would have probably said, usually, his macro's not up to par with his aggressive play. His macro that last game was flawless, and that scares me, because that was maybe one of the... I wouldn't even call it a weakness, just one of the areas that he's not quite as amazing in. He seems to have tightened that up very well, and I didn't see a hole that DIMAGA could have exploited in his play there.
Unfortunately for DIMAGA, though, he has spawned basically in the worst position out of all 3 for him to go into, because his 3rd base is technically touching the main base of Select, which is going to be really difficult because it's going to be very easy to drop on it. We can see, like, especially once these rocks are gone down as well, it's going to be extremely hard for DIMAGA to play from here. But the thing is, once he gets into a comfortable rhythm, DIMAGA is most definitely one of the best in the world, especially if he can get into that rhythm. And Select, though, is a guy that likes to not allow that to happen, as we saw aggression almost straight off the bat.
Yeah, the idea being that you put your opponent in a position that he's not comfortable with. You continue to apply pressure, you continue to attack him, catch him off balance, force him to make units where he'd much prefer to be making drones, do damage to his economy, and then you can take full advantage of that going forward. We'll see what Select decides to do. He hasn't indicated anything as of yet, just grabbing one gas, not going for any kind of gasless expand build here. So it looks like a similar build, in fact identical to the last game if I recall correctly. So we could see once again that double Hellion pressure, and that might work out very well for him. We'll see what he decides to do with this first 100 gas here. He's now moving his SCV back there, so I'm thinking a factory is about to come down, and we'll see. There it is, and double Hellion aggression very, very likely right now.
And Select actually skipped to the last MLG as well, and decided not to play through the open bracket to train for tournaments such as this, for DreamHack Winter and so on. So we can definitely see that coming out right now with flying colors. Meanwhile, we are seeing the Reactor Hellion once again. It's, you know, a very nice standard build, though the kind of deviation point comes once again from here. Do you take a very fast 2nd and 3rd, because Korean Terrans love to take a 3rd command center super fast, or does he put the pressure on straight away? We'll have to decide which one he does do. On the other hand, though, DIMAGA, I feel, is going to be playing with that style, getting a lot of Zerglings out, looking that if Select does try to go for a timing attack, that he can overwhelm with Lings, potentially 1-1 Lings as well, and we'll have to see what does come through. He does put a Spine Crawler down once again, though, because of that threat of the Hellions.
Yeah, it was an interesting comment you made earlier about choosing which tournaments to actually train for, and incidentally, there was actually a deviation here. We've got Select grabbing an earlier starport than the last time, looking potentially for some Hellion drop play, which of course is ideal if his opponent does end up taking this fast 3rd, considering the positions. But talking about training there, you've got the idea that going through a really grueling tournament through the open bracket. MLG open bracket is known as being incredibly draining on a player. You have to play so many games in so short a time, and some players are now choosing to skip it because selecting their tournaments, pardon the pun, seems like the way to go.
Indeed it does. You caught me off guard with that one. I wasn't expecting selecting.
Always expect the puns when you have a British casting team.
I mean, we have the Medivac out, which is going to be able to lift into the main, ignore the Spine Crawler, and once again, we're going to have this Hellion Marine combination, which Lings cannot physically destroy because of the Hellions at the back of the Marines. The Lings just die so fast.
Untouchable.
And DIMAGA is building nothing but drones, so this could potentially be quite hard for DIMAGA again. Select is getting expansion up as well, so it's by no means all in, and he's also just going to the exact same thing, just getting a starport and that Medivac out a little bit faster, and here it comes. The Medivac has been spotted. DIMAGA is building Lings.
Yep, interesting decision as well to grab a Viking. Good little bit of Overlord harassment potential there. So we'll see how that goes for him. And Select now lifting 6 Hellions through into the third. And of course the third is not up yet, but this is the defense. The Spine Crawler is not there in time. That's a bit of a problem. DIMAGA trying to bring his Queens in and get a good surround with the Lings, but he doesn't really have the numbers to make that happen. He's able to drive the Hellions away for the time being from the mineral line, but now the Spine Crawler is completely in the wrong position. More Lings coming down from the side. Will he be able to hold this? That was a pretty good surround right there. They're going to drive right into the main base, and Select Hellions getting nailed down. Really nice defense here by DIMAGA.
Yeah, he holds that quite well, and actually only loses 4 drones there, which is not that bad, to be honest. The thing is, he was forced to build a lot of Lings. He missed a few lava injects, but his layer is now completed, actually. And the thing, he's kind of off the rhythm. You know, we talked about before how, you know, Select needs to knock DIMAGA out of his rhythm. The gases are extremely late on that natural because of this little attack here. Meanwhile, Select's build, he's put himself a little bit behind. He didn't maximize damage. 6 Hellions, only killing 4 drones isn't that good. But at the same time, this Viking is also slowing down DIMAGA. He's got currently 2 kills, looking for a third. And in comes 4 Hellions again. Medivac is going to be able to support and lift these up, as they're not really going to achieve anything once again.
Yeah, DIMAGA was easily able to shut that one down. I think that's now 3 Overlords, possibly even 4 that Select has been able to pluck out of the sky there. And not only is that expensive, it requires more construction, 100 minerals every time, but it also denies a lot of scouting information. DIMAGA would have loved to have all of these Overlords around here to spot drops on the third, knowing that he's in close air. He now cannot do that simply because of that Viking there. So he's going to be under continued pressure going forward. That said, this Spire is almost out, and Select now with a significantly smaller number of Marines. He's really investing a lot into Hellions, which are going to be shut down immediately once those mutas come into play.
And Hellions are coming in again. We'll be looking for some more drones. We'll be able to get them, though.
Well, we've got DIMAGA immediately pulling off the line, and Select being a bit more cautious this time around. He's lost 2 waves of Hellions already to really good Zergling control. Banelings moving in as well. If he's able to get this around and detonate the Banelings, he can take those out, but there's not quite enough Lings to really make that happen. All he wants to do is sort of throw them back and make sure they don't damage the mineral line. He's not too concerned about losing Lings, because he knows once the mutas come out, that's all shut down.
Yeah, and he's forced Banelings as well, which is going to lower the Mutalisk count, and once again, pressure, skipping lava injects. He's still not even into the gases right now on that natural, so Select just pressuring with a few units. He's not really looking at damage, but that pressure is great, and at the same time, we do have 2 factories now, so he's going to be really building up that tank count, realizing what he's playing against. He's getting combat shields, trying to focus on his macro, but at the same time, DIMAGA's in pretty good position. 61 drones now, Mulis are out. DIMAGA's looking in a lot better shape than previously.
Yeah, there's no real doubt, and the Marine count isn't high enough for Select right now. He does have a few more barracks with reactors, starting to pump Marines as quickly as he can. The harassment's going to come in, and Select will immediately intercept that. But what this does is it gives DIMAGA some map control, it gives him some breathing room for the time being. The possibility of drops over this ravine here is unlikely now because of the number of Mutalisks there. It's too risky to try and do a drop and lose everything mid-flight. That would be a really bad thing to happen. And in the meantime, it gives DIMAGA the opportunity to get up a macro hatchery and start to get things rolling on his economic side of things. He's 63 drones to 49 workers, which is exactly where he wants to be.
Yeah, and now he's starting to get into that rhythm. He's starting to harass. He's building a lot of drones. He's going to be at over 70 drones very, very shortly. He's also working on his upgrades too. Select has chosen a fast third base, which has been picked up and spotted now by DIMAGA. So DIMAGA's actually at free will to do whatever he wants. There is not going to be a push coming from, well, with any significant damage or output from Select for quite a while now. So he has a lot of time. But actually, in the production tab, We're seeing a lot of units being made. I think DIMAGA's smelling a bit of weakness at the front door and is going to be looking to try to bust straight through this.
Yeah, I'm thinking so, honestly. It's a good idea right now. He doesn't have a particularly high tank count. He actually does not have siege tech at all. Hasn't started that yet. He is getting the armory, so looking for heavy upgrades, I would imagine, going forward. Perhaps having to break a Thor or two in. And in the meantime, DIMAGA does take his 4th down to the bottom here and is looking in a much better position than he was last time. It would simply came down to, can you hold up against SeleCT early game aggression? If you can, then you can get ahead.
Most definitely, and the 4th base has now been taken for DIMAGA. He's kind of maxed out with drones at 70 now, so he's able to build all units. He's building 5 overlords, which will make him be the maxed out 200 supply capability, so he's going to be able to max out fully very, very easily. The Mulus, once again, finding areas without turrets, without marines, picking off a reactor. That will slow the production down for SeleCT. And these Mulus do once again come out. SeleCT really needs to build a couple of turrets over here and look at that. Look how many barracks he immediately puts down now. His 3rd base economy is now kicking in.
Yep, he needs it as well. His marine count needs to get much, much higher than it is. His upgrade count is starting to get rolling. The thing is, he is only just keeping pace with DIMAGA, who's about to finish his +1 melee attack as well. And he's getting the Baneling speed upgrade. So once again, this Mutaling strategy by DIMAGA should be pretty effective. 89 Zerglings on the field right now for DIMAGA. That's a huge number. And yeah, you really wouldn't have that number of Zerglings unless you were thinking about doing some kind of major aggressive bust. And DIMAGA also taking a ninja expansion over here, sneaking through the night unseen over to the east of the Terminus SE.
Yeah, I mean, SeleCT will be looking to push soon. He needs to establish a 4th base in the middle of the map. But at the same time, he cannot move out until he's comfortable to defend against these Mulus. And I'm surprised he actually hasn't built a Thor yet. I mean, a single Thor combined with a few Marines and turrets would easily defend his main base. And we always talk about how these positions would have favored SeleCT on the aggressive side of things, but also it is going to favor DIMAGA that is able to harass a lot and easily run back to his main base to defend. This push from SeleCT, I don't really think it's going to achieve much, especially if he's out of position and not sieged.
If you're having Terran problems, I'll feel bad for your son. I've got 99 Zerglings. Here we go, crashing into the middle of it. Oh, that's a massacre. Oh my god, that is brutality there by DIMAGA.
Wow. Absolutely flawless play from DIMAGA. And it looks like he is going to be able to just fly through. There's hardly any units whatsoever out for SeleCT.
Yeah, how do you hold that? You don't at this point.
No.
DIMAGA is now brutalizing what's left of SeleCT's defenses. Really well executed play there by DIMAGA, looking to get back on form. A large Mutalist count, devastating the economy of his opponent, and Zerglings are streaming in. Now this is pressure, 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 and here is a wonderful basket of Banelings.
And SeleCT has nothing.
GG.
And the importance of that match, so important. I cannot stress that. He had to win that game. Otherwise, he was going into the 3rd map, which is, you know, as mentioned, Terran favored.
Yep, Shkirasplateau. Unpleasant. We're going to be going to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be bringing you Game 3 of this wonderful series between DIMAGA and SeleCT. Currently 1 apiece right here at the ASUS